Hey, what's up, guys? It looks like we had a pretty bearish weekly close that just closed yesterday. So today's Monday, brand new week. Starting to get a little bit of a bid here. But I think the main thing right now is to see if this candle here can retrace this candle at least 50%. You can see it's kind of ticking up a little bit here. So let's look at the small time frames. Look at that. We just got a bullish engulfing candle on the 1 hour chart. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. So you can see all of this bullish divergence in here that we were talking about. Look at that. Boom. Oversold, right? And then you come down here. We're going down. This is going up. Looking good. We broke that EMA right there on the 1 hour chart. So you know, we'll do a little bit of recap here on what we were talking about on the previous video. So looking at this as potentially a 5-wave move, right? So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we had I'm trying to see if that was a diagonal, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of like an ending diag, right? So that's kind of how I'm looking at it, right? We were in here. This could have been the 5th. We rolled over one more time, and you can see right here we hit that low, we came up and we rolled over, and again we took the low out. So that's, you know, you can notice how here's a low, right? You can see they're getting exhausted, right? So the lows are getting tighter, which tells me, you know, it's starting to wane down a little bit. So it starts, you know, it's giving me the impression it kind of wants to curve out of here. You see what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Now, could it still continue down? Yes, and we'll talk about a few ideas. But the main idea is, or I should say, there's a couple ideas. We'll discuss that right now. So first of all, we have this 3-wave move up, right? And then potentially we have a 3-wave move down, right? So this is going to come back up. We'll get rejected here and come back down. So we have 3 up, 3 down, right? And this could be either a bigger leading diagonal or a WXY. So we would get 3 like this, right? If it's a diagonal. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, right? Would come back down in 3 and then go back up in 3. But I'm not sure about that. It's a little big. It's just kind of, I don't know. I'm not too sure about that one. But, you know, that's definitely a contender there. And what we would have is 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, and 3 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a diagonal. And then you would get a big ABC, and you would flag out in here for a while and then break out. So when we look on the daily chart, what does that look like? I mean, it looks probable. It looks probable, but, you know, that could, if we get something like that, I would imagine that would be the end of the wave, because that's 5 waves right there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, the 5th wave could be sort of a diagonal pattern, right? Which is kind of lackluster. You kind of want those starting out, right? So we'll keep that on the back burner for now. There's no point in, you know, going any further with that, because we just don't know right now. But what would be more probable is if this is sort of 3 up, 3 down, and then we would get either 5 up or 3 up, something like that. So an ABC, right? And that ABC could, in fact, we could flag out in here when we start breaking this, and then we can get that extended wave to the upside. And then it could potentially be like a 1-2-1-2 here. We'd get 3, 4, and then 5. So I'm, looking at it from a bullish perspective, I mean, that's kind of what I would anticipate. But both ideas say that we still have more downside. Both ideas say that we got to go take this bullish divergence out here. Look at the 4-hour chart. I mean, that is bullish divergence all the way, right? I mean, here's the top of the third, and here's the top of the fifth. So between the third and the fifth, and then look at that. So we got, I mean, that was a good signal right there. So I kind of wanted to get a video out yesterday and talk about it. I just couldn't do it. But the day, I think Friday, I put a video out saying, this divergence is getting stronger. And look at that, we have triple. All right, at least we have sort of this bottom here. So it's kind of like sort of waning down. So anyways, we have the potential for this thing. I mean, we got a strong impulse right here. So, if this is a wave 1, we get a wave 2. I mean, does this go up correctively or does it go up impulsively? We'll find that out. But essentially, we would get rejected here, and then we would come back down. So it'd be 3 up and then 3 down, right? And then people will say, oh, look, it's a big head and shoulders, right? A big head and shoulders, and we're breaking it. And then, yeah, that's true. But if we come back up and we get rejected here, then I would say, okay, yeah, probably. But I would anticipate that this would continue doing something big like this. So 3, 3, 3, right? So yeah, those are the two ideas. And again, both of them say that we have to come up here. So what about another idea that doesn't involve having to say, the low's in? Well, if I zoom in, let's see, to the 1-hour chart, it looks like we have 5 waves here. Let me see, did that, let me see. Well, if this was 1 and 2, and then we had 3 and 4 and 5, I don't like it really at all, but that's kind of what I would imagine. So basically, we would say that this is a wave, this whole thing is a wave 1, and then this is all a wave 2 here. So we haven't talked, this is a new idea. So basically we have a wave 1, and then what we have is an A, B, C running flat, very bullish wave 2 pattern, wave 2 setup here, right? So you could see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's A. 1, 2, 3, that's B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's C. Okay, and then yeah, it's got that running flat look where it did not take the low. It could still roll over one more time, but then I wouldn't like it as much because it'd be too big. So let me see. It would be, let me see here, trend-based with extension. So if I just take a little bit of an extension here and come down, I think this is on, yeah, okay. So the 1-to-1, I'm looking at 68.67. So 68,674. If that was gonna, for a potential wave 3, or actually I'd probably even go higher than that. I'd probably even say up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe something like that. But it could extend even higher. So we would have a 1, 2, and this would come up 1, and maybe we would get another 2. So 1, 2. And maybe that 2 would be the flagging out that we anticipate happening here, because that's usually what happens when you're starting to break out. You'll get up right to the resistance. After a big crash, you'll come up, and then you just flag out for a while, and then boom, break it to the upside. So Bitcoin is still, it's still at that level where it's like, man, you just don't really, not too sure. But I was looking at this fractal here, and it looks pretty decent, right? I mean, you could just pause the video and look closely at it. You can see we have 1, 2, 3 highs. Same thing on the price. 1, 2, 3 highs. We came down and we took out all the lows. We came down, we took out all the lows, and then you could see this little 3-wave shape here. We kind of went up like that, and then we sort of went sideways. And that could be what we're getting now, something similar to that, which would ultimately lead to more upside. So we'll keep an eye on that fractal. Here's another one, just looks a little, or same fractal, just different time frame. And then I think I took this screenshot yesterday looking at the 1-hour chart on XRP. Beautiful bullish divergence, triple bullish divergence here, and a back test of the bull market support band, which was very important. So here's what I wanted to show. So this is the 3-hour chart of Bitcoin. And I think it kind of went down a little bit more, and now it went back up. So I think I took the screenshot yesterday, but something like that. And you can kind of see how this fractal here, right, where it kind of comes down, does like a couple shoulders, a head, and then a couple more shoulders. Same thing over here. You kind of had 1, 2 shoulders, a head, and then 1, 2 shoulders, and then it kind of went down. This one didn't take the low. This one did, but it kind of gave you that falling channel, right? That kind of like that falling channel with divergence, which ultimately led to a bigger breakout, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. We can get something like that. If we get a pump like that, and you can already see we're pumping now, right? So if this thing can get up here and break this top, that could be pretty good here. And then we can flag out, right? Back test this area. And then I would be much more confident that we can continue higher, because this would be very impulsive. Now we could still be a 3-way move up here, but then, if we do get up there, we can just reevaluate the situation here, right? Kind of, you don't want to get too many steps ahead of yourself. We'll just focus at a couple at a time. But yeah, I think the fractal is right over here. Let me go to the 4-hour chart. So you can kind of see how the price was coming down, right? And you can see what it did. Same kind of thing, right? It sort of had this kind of like falling channel type of look, where it came down, bounce, a big head, which is the signature look, and then this shoulder here. It's kind of like a slanted head and shoulders. But then boom, it just reverses quickly, right? So if we take a bars pattern here, something like that, and then put it like, side by side, you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. It kind of has that same type of look to it. And when I take this and I put it right here, you can kind of see what I'm talking about, right? It's not perfect, But look at it. I mean, it's impulsing just as if this is, you know, continuing to follow the fractal, which is a good sign. I mean, that's kind of what we wanted to see. So we'll see if this fractal continues to, you know, follow along. You can kind of see it plugs in pretty well. So yeah, and if that's the case, then once we get back up here, again, how does it, you know, if we impulse up here, do we get rejected and we start coming down fast? Or do we sort of have like an ABC and flag out, maybe back test, right? That will give me a better indication that we are going to challenge this local high. And then if we can break that high here, oh man, then it's going to be really a perfect situation, because then you can kind of say, well, maybe the diag is something like this: 1, 2, and then we come up 3, right? 1, 2, 3, and then we pull down 4, and then 5. I think that's how I did it. Or actually, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Yeah, so that's the shape there. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then flag out up here, and then go. So we'll see if we can get through these retracement levels. Here's your wave. Let's cut the wave in half. So somewhere around that 61, between 61,350 and 62K. So we'll just say, you know, mid 61K I think would be a good spot here to see if we can get through that. So when we zoom out a little bit, right, what is the main idea on the bigger time frames? Well, the main idea has not changed. It's still, this is a corrective pattern here, and we should get that fifth wave to the upside. So I'm still looking at that, right? I mean, things can change. If we start breaking these lows and then come up and get rejected, then I'm going to change my mind, right? But until then, we're still somewhat hanging along here, flagging out. So there's going to be a lot of volatility up, a lot of volatility down. You know, if we break one more low, here's a different count for everybody. So the original idea is that this is an A, this is a B, and this is C. So we have A, we have a 3-wave B, and that's C. So that's the main count, right? Now the other count, and by the way, that count would suggest that this is going to break out, right? The other count is that this is W, X, Y, X, Z. So it's just a different way to label it, but that's what it is. And if that's the case, then again, we should still continue higher to the upside. But here's a different idea for us. What if this is still a WXYXZ, but this whole thing is X? So we have a W, and then we need 3 for X, so that's X. And then this could be Y, and that could be X, and that could be Z. That could happen. I don't like it a lot. I mean, it's not really proportional, but let me show you. Yeah, so that I don't think that would work. It's just not proportional. So what I would say differently is that this is W, this whole thing is X, and then this is Y. So we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and then boom, 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 we have 3 back down. So this would be W, this would be X, and this would be Y. So that could work, right? I mean, you can see these two legs are the same, right? And then you have this sort of your connector wave, right? So let me do that one more time. And then I can put these here, right? So your W and your Y. But yeah, that's one idea that would allow this low to be broken. Okay, so if we do break the low, it's still, you know, I said it was probably game over, but there still could be one last hope that this is some type of three-wave move down, which would be Y, or yeah, WXY. So again, W, X, Y. So 3, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is a three-wave move that flagged out, and then we break out. So that is the idea, and if that's the idea, then that means we're breaking the low, which means that this is probably going to come up here and get rejected and then come down pretty fast, I would imagine, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, and then that would be an ABC right there. And that ABC would be part of the Y wave. So we would break the low. It's like, why? Because it's a Y wave. We got to break the low. I don't know. So that would be sort of disappointing. But you know, when you draw your channel here, I guess it would kind of make sense a little bit here. But you know, depending how you draw the channel, right? I can draw it a little bit different like this, but then the tops don't really match up as well. But you know, it's a little bit subjective, but you know, coming down here and then bottoming out. So let me just recap that, and then we'll go to the altcoin. So idea number one on the smaller time frame, this is an A, or on the time frame, the daily, this is B, this is C. We're done. So A, B, C, we're done. And then this is either a diagonal pattern or a WXY pattern, right? So, you know, we'll jump into those ideas. So we have the small time frame ideas, and then the larger idea, right? And then obviously the one we just talked about, which comes down and breaks the low. So that would be WXY, break the low, then go. Or it could be WXYXZ. But it doesn't, you know, either way, it's a fourth wave correction, and we should see higher prices. So to summarize the smaller time frames, this is 1, this is a 2 running flat, and now we're getting ready to go into that third wave. So we'd come up here, maybe flag out a little bit, break the top, and just continue rocking it to the upside in that third wave. And that third wave, I would imagine getting back up to these local highs here between 69 and 70K. Right? But it's not going to go up in a straight line. It's going to, you know, it's going to take its time. So that's idea number one. That's the most bullish idea we can get right there as far as time goes. The other idea is to say that this is a diagonal, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we got to come up in 5. We would still come up here, right? It's just not a diag, right? So yeah, that would be 5, and then we would flag out and then continue higher. right? But this might need, you know, I would imagine the low's in. I think the low's in for this wave here, because we have 5, we have divergence, and we have an impulse that is taking out the previous swing here, right? So that's good. I mean, this thing's pumping. That's what we want. So we get up here, and it's all gonna be about the retracement level. Remember, I say point A, point B. So at the top is easy. The bottom is easy. The middle, that's hard, because it can go either way, right? So once we get into the retracement levels, we'll reevaluate. But I think that's where we're headed. I think this is going to pull back a little bit soon, right? But and by the way, the monthly candle is officially closed. We're in the month of September. It's usually a horrible month for crypto. But if you look at 2016 and you compare Ethereum, it was green September. So we'll see if we can get a green September. You know, if everybody's expecting a red month, it might be the opposite. Sometimes that happens. Okay, so then the next idea would be that this is, you know, basically we have 2 ideas that break the top. The other idea is that this comes up here, but then we come back down. So 3 up and then 3 down, and then have like some sort of bigger diagonal pattern, right? So those are kind of those are basically the 3 ideas. All of which, you know, say there's probably a little more upside to go into these retracement levels, right? So I think that's it for Bitcoin. Let me see. The problem is, though, here's the biggest problem with crypto is when I turn the 2-month chart on. Look at that. We have a 9, guys. We have a 2-month 9 sell on Bitcoin. That sucks, right? But you could see we had a 9 over here too, and it didn't really bother so much. So that's kind of what I'm hoping here. But this 9, you know, you can see we have a doji here, a doji here, a doji here, right? So these are all the indicators that this thing's going to reverse, right? And if it does reverse, then that idea is we're going into reaccumulation down here. So we had a rise, a crash, a 3-wave retracement. We're on a 2-month 9 sell. We have a doji, doji, doji. Those are reversal candles. And then we would come down between 30 and 40K, or I should say between 30 and 47K, and then go up later. Maybe I would imagine it would take probably another year. So we're in September now, so I would say probably by October, November, December of next year, that's when we should be flying to the upside after this is done reaccumulating. You see what I mean? So that's the main bearish idea, right? And there's a lot of validity to it because of this 9 and because of the doji candles. But when we look at the altcoins, they just had a 2-month 9 buy, not so long ago. But then more than that, on the current time frames, we had a 2-week 9 buy. So I'm still thinking, okay, this is really bullish here. This is a 2-week 9 buy, right? But it's battling a 2-month 9 sell for Bitcoin. So it's kind of like, what's going to happen here? At the very least, I want to see a retracement back here. And then we can think about it. Because look at this, red candle, red, 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 red. I mean, we finally had a green. I mean, this trend's not going to continue forever. It's eventually going to find a base, And I think that is happening now. You can see we're in support, right? Support. Let's come back and retrace. So that's kind of what I'm thinking overall. Now, does that involve another low? I mean, we could maybe make another slight lower low, but nothing too big, right? It has to remain sort of within this base here if we're going to still be bullish, right? So let's zoom in here to Theta and let's talk about some altcoins and what we got going on. So yeah, I mean, I think it looks pretty good. Come on, there we go. So we did not break the low, which is good. We held that low, and we're sort of in the middle here. We're sort of retesting this area. I would have liked to see it stay above this black line, right? But that didn't happen. So do we have any divergence? We don't have any divergence on Theta. That's the thing. On the 1 hour chart, yes, we definitely have it there. On the 2 hour chart, definitely have it there as well. So we have triple bullish divergence on the 2 hour. Let's see. Yeah, just up to the 2 hour is good. And we're kind of breaking this downward resistance line here. You can see our trend right here was slightly broken to the upside. That's a good sign. And then also we have 5 waves, right? And let me actually, because I can't remember where we left off from. Okay, yeah, I remember now. So for Theta, we had 1, 2, all of this is 3, this was 4, and this was 5. That's where we left off of. And then we had an impulse to the upside, but look what happened. We broke the low again. So if that's the case, then I'm thinking, okay, here's the low, and what we had here was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave sort of ending diagonal right there. I don't like it a lot. I mean, I don't, the third is too small. It's not even really, it's kind of against the rules because you can't have the third, the smallest wave. So it doesn't really make sense, but it's the only thing I can kind of think here. So when you zoom more, the more you zoom in, the harder it is to kind of count what it is. But essentially, we have a 5-wave leg, right? I mean, it's sufficient enough to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So now we want to see this work itself back up. Again, where are we at here? Point A, point B, right? I mean, yeah, we could even continue going down, but likely we got to retrace here, right? When you get 5 waves down, let's get a 3-wave pullback or something here. So that's what I'm anticipating. I'm anticipating a retracement back to about maybe $1.25, or let's see, $1.24 up to $1.32. I want to see some kind of retracement back to the upside. Now it's the same thing with Bitcoin. We have 3. This could be another 3. But if it's another 3, we need to go up for a little bit and then come back down and then go, right? So that would be a larger sort of WXY, right? And then obviously that could turn into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could turn into a diagonal where you flag out and then continue to break out. Where's the bull market support band? It's okay, yeah, right around there. So we would, if that was the count, we could break this, and then as the band comes down, it would wrap itself around here, and then we can retest it as we're flagging out up here and then go. So yeah, it really comes down to what happens in this retracement pattern. Let's see. Do I have a couple nines there in the bounce, but nothing. Let's see. What about an 8 hour? Nope. I was kind of hoping we would get a 9 or something in there. But we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's always 7. A lot of times it's that 7 wave crashing structure. So yeah, okay. So now I like this fractal here. So I want you to look at this. Do you see how that's kind of coiling in here? Right? We came down, we're coiling in, we break out, we make a little hump here, and then what do? We go sideways and then take off. And I remember seeing that right on Bitcoin. Now look at this. Look at Bitcoin here. I should take a screenshot of it. That way I can put it side by side. Okay, right here. Same thing, except it's way bigger. So we had this sort of 3-wave move to the top, and then look what it did. It coiled in just like that. It bounced up, it came back down, and then it went sideways, and then it took off. So it's kind of ugly, but you can kind of see, trying to fit it on this rather small screen here. So we have, here's the crash, right? Here's the crash. You have this 3-wave move to the top, 3-wave move to the top, or actually, no, I messed up. It's actually even smaller than that. So right here's our 3-wave move. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then we kind of coil in. 1, 2, 3, and then we coil in. And then you kind of make a pump here, and then it comes back down, and it holds these lows, right? And then what does it do? It goes sideways in here, and then it breaks out. So you can see that little hump, and then it comes down, goes sideways, and then continue. So there you go. There's your move there. So we'll see if that something like that plays out, right? I kind of remembered the structure of it, and you can kind of compare and contrast and see. So as far as Theta goes, and when I talk about Theta, I'm talking about basically all the altcoins. When we remove this, we're gonna get an 8. We're gonna get an 8 today. So in about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So it's Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. 8 is today, and then tomorrow we should get a 9. We'll see if it's perfected. It looks pretty good though. You can see the last time we had a daily 9 buy. Look at that. We broke out and we continued. So hopefully we can get another 9 by tomorrow. So yeah, that's pretty much it here. We're definitely oversold. I want to see this come back up and retrace this wave. Now if we can flag out in here and break out, then we hit the bull market support band. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we get into the bull market support band, and then we start flagging out. And then continue higher and challenge these levels. So that's still my main idea here. And nothing's changed, right? If we start breaking this low, then I'm going to change, obviously. But still, everything is on track. We had a pretty big sell-off yesterday and the day before. So I think things are slowly starting to slow down a little bit, and we can keep it going. let's see. Let me see the 4 hour again. Yeah, there was not really much divergence there on the 4 hour. So let's keep moving on to some other altcoins here. But let me go to the super small time frame here and see what we got. Yeah, so we don't really have much. It looks like a little bit of a diag though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks nice. So we get an ABC pullback. We flag out in here, right? That might be a good place to consider dollar cost averaging, right? Not financial advice, but I would think so. And let's get a reaction. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, you can see if this wants to start curving up, right? And we, do something like that. But we'll touch on it later in the week. Let's move on to XRP. Now XRP had a big pump to the upside, way bigger than Theta did. I mean, look at that. That thing went up pretty big. If I put up Theta side by side, you can see Theta's down here. So, and why is that? Because we bounced off the bull market support band, and XRP has 4 hour divergence. Theta only has up to 2 hour divergence, right? But now it has bearish divergence, and you can say, well, what do you mean? Because now look, boom, boom, that's bearish right there. So, or that's, I think it's, yeah, we got bearish divergence. So I was gonna say hidden bear. So let's look at this wave here for XRP. I still think XRP is very bullish. Why? Because again, we have this big impulse. First of all, let me zoom out here. This is why. We had a big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we had this expanded flat. So A, 3 wave B, 5 wave C, A, B, C. And we came all the way down, big pullback. And we back tested this wave 1. And as soon as we back tested, we instantly came all the way back up. That's very bullish, right? Coming all the way back up, reclaiming all of that very fast, coming right back to the top. Right? And as soon as we did that, what did we do? The most bullish thing you can do, which is what? A 3-wave correction. So this looks like obviously an ABC, right? So A, B, C. And then what did we do? You can see the bull market support band. This C wave came here and it back tested the bull market support band, right? So now, if this is a wave C, do we have 5 waves? I would imagine we do. It's not the nicest looking 5 wave, but something like 1, 2, and then we have, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3, and then 4, and then 5. Or this could be some kind of flat. So 1, 2, 3. All of this is a flat for wave 4, and this is wave 5. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking here. So that this was some type of wave 4 flat, and then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 5. So we have 5 waves in wave 5, and we also have divergence, and it back tested. And then what else do we have? We have a big impulse. This thing impulsing to the top and getting right back to the previous degree. So what do we want to see? We want to see a ABC. We want to see it flagging out in here, consolidating, pull back bullishly, maybe a 618 retrace. And then what do we want? we want to break out. And then you have a shoulder, you have a head, you have a shoulder, you have an inverse head and shoulders. The measured move approximately is about, what is that, 59.45. So nothing special, but getting us back into those so it's basically the same story with Bitcoin, Theta, and XRP, which is this wave here, right? This down leg. It feels like we've been going down for a while. We've been going down since August 24th, right? So really not that long, but it feels like it's been a while. Let me put the retracement levels up. So yeah, I want to get right between here. So somewhere in that box between the 50 and the 786, really. And then also, how does it get up there, right? So that's the idea, is getting into that retracement level, then reevaluating. So what could it turn into? I mean, what could this could actually turn into the big mega launch, guys, because this thing is very primed. I mean it's been correcting down for a year. I mean, that's a huge correction and massive accumulation, right? Because all of this, XRP has been in reaccumulation for the last 2 years. It's been in reaccumulation for 2+ years. That's a long time for reaccumulation. But essentially, we're ready to break this, right? You can see our channel here. And once we break that, it's going to be massive. So when we look at it on the 2-day chart, look at this. We have a nice 3-wave shape. You got the dojis here. We're back testing the bull market support band. So this thing could really start to kind of like get up here and really start to accelerate and just really start to rip to the upside. I mean, I can totally see that happening here. So you can say 3, 3, 5. So A, B, C. And then you have A, you have B, and you have C. A, B, C. So you have 3 up, you have 3 down, and now you have an impulse up. It's backtesting the bull market support band. It's also got a 3-wave shape on the smaller time frames. You got some hidden bullish depth. So I mean, it just seems to me that we could see upside. Now it's all going to involve Bitcoin, right? I mean, you know, the environment has to be perfect. I think Bitcoin needs to show up, right? Because a lot of these alts are ready. Like, for example, when you look at Theta on the 2-week chart, it's got a 2-week 9 buy, right? So let's look at a couple other charts here. Let's go to Matic. And let's go to the 2-week chart. Okay, so you could see right there, we had a 2-week 9 buy. And we had a big green candle up, and now another big red candle down. So that's okay, as long as it doesn't close below the low, right? Because I look at that as when you flip from red to green, red, right? You're creating some kind of base in here. So if we come back up, maybe come back down a little bit, and then maybe break out, pause a little bit, and then maybe get a big breakout like that. Pull back a little bit, and then continue higher. I mean, that seems like something I could see happening. Right? It's going to take time, right? It's the 2-week chart, but we still have that 2-week 9 buy. And then also, total 3. Let's take a look at total 3. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Now I like total 3 because look, so here's what I'll say, as long as total 3 is holding above the mean, the middle line right here, which is doing, I say we're pretty bullish. So as long as we're holding above that, I think it's we got a stronger chance for upside. So let me take everything off and let's look at this. So total 3 actually broke the low. So it took this low out, which is sometimes it could be a good thing because now it grabbed that liquidity, right? There's a lot of liquidity resting above these lows. And you can see right here, we took it out just not so long ago. We have bullish divergence. Do we have it on the 4-hour? No, we don't have it on the 4-hour. And Theta didn't either. On the 3-hour, it's okay. It's a little bit there. But yeah, it just seems like it's a little bit bearish right now. It's going to have to prove itself to me. Could this be some kind of flat here for wave 4, and then you can get a bigger wave 5, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3. This is 4. This is 5. Or is this whole thing 4, and then we still have to get 5, right? This could come up like this, and then we can get one more low here, and then kind of build a base, and then break out. So I would imagine you got quite a bit of work in here to do. Up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Some oscillation in here. But the point is, we want to see what happens when we get back towards, it might not happen, but we want to get a retracement here, at least up to the 618, and see how this can play out in here. So does it move correctively, right? Because then what would the alternative be? Well, 3 up, 3 down, right? We would still have to go down here. And then that would be the low. This would be the low here, and then that would be either 3 or 5 up. So when I zoom out a little bit, here's the bull market support band, right? It's starting to come down a little bit, but if we come 3 down and then we go 3 up, right, then it's going to start curving up, or even 5, and then we flag out in here, we retest it in here, and then we continue marching our way to the upside. So that's kind of what it would look like. So I'm trying to visualize, okay, what could this potentially look like here? And then that would make sense because we would come up here and we would hopefully break this downward resistance line, and then you can see right in here we can back test, right? But we're still far away. We're still very far away. I mean, the first thing we got to do is get a bottom here. So I think that's it. As far as the bearish ideas, I mean, you know how we get these drops here? It drops down and then it kind of goes into this little channel. And a lot of times these channels just break down hard like this. 1, 2, 3. And they kind of they bottleneck and then they drop hard. So this could be a short here and it's about to drop. So that would be my bearish idea. And that would still, and from that, I would then think, okay, now it's starting to impulse to the downside. Right? So this is an impulse, this is a 3-way pullback. If we get something like this, then it's going to look like an impulse. What are we going to want? A 3-way pullback. And if we get rejected here and we start going back down, that's the time to say, okay, we probably got to step aside here and wait a little bit and see what this thing's doing. Because so far, it's lower lows, lower lows, lower highs, right? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So until that gets broken, we have to assume that's what it's going to keep doing. But we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the amount that is needed, W, X, Y, X, Z, for this thing to be a completed fourth wave correction. But now it needs to prove itself in here. You know, basically this wave, what is that, right? And we came back to retrace it. So now we're right in the middle here. So this is, to me, the inflection point of up or down. But let's keep looking here. Ethereum Classic, yeah, same thing. Matic, we talked about it, same thing. Matic fell quite a bit, and it has a ton of bullish divergence, even on the 6 hour. So I think for a trade, I think Matic might be maybe the better one because of how much potential for retracement there is. That's a pretty big gap there, right? So if it did go into a retracement, I think it would be more percentage than, say, maybe XRP or Theta. But yeah, I kind of like it here for a potential bottom. Oh yeah, look at that. So we had a 4-hour 9 buy, and I love these type of 9s because when they go sideways, red, green, red, green, red, green, it's building a base, and now look what it's doing. It's breaking above those red dots, activating that 9. And that's the same thing when we go to Theta on the 2-week chart, right? That's what we want to see. Same thing. We have red, green, red, right? Then we'll flip green, flip red again, right? Red, green, red, green. At the bottom of a wave with a 9, that's a bullish base getting built right there. So just for a reference there. This can't be a 1-2 because we broke the low, but it could be a flat here. So A, B, and now it's going up for a C. This could be a fourth wave, guys. Some kind of expanded flat. So then what it would be is it would be a 1-2. All of this is 3. Then we have to come up in a 4 and then get a 5 like this. So that, look out for that, right? And this could be a diag, like sort of like a falling wedge in here, right? And then you break out and go. So we might have another low. It's a little bit tough to say right now. But what we're gonna have to do is just wait until we start to see a little movement here and see what it's trying to do. Because it could very well be some kind of 3 up, 3 down, right? And if we got 3 down, so if this thing came up, retraced, and then it came back down, that would be a really good long, in my opinion, for another 3 up. So we'll see. CRV. Now CRV was definitely interesting. So like you can see the same kind of thing on CRV, just on a bigger time frame. You see how it kind of like made a low, another low, how it's kind of slanting down here. And then you kind of look at Matic, or even whatever coin, right? And you can kind of see that same thing. We have a low. It's kind of like a slanted in. We come up and then we kind of drizzle down. So, anyway, CRV, it looks pretty good. I mean, actually it looks really good. That was a big impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'm not sure what it's doing now. There's just no wave definition. It's just kind of trending down. And it's got that little bottleneck look to it, where it looks like it just wants to drop like that. So how it drops, it kind of bottlenecks, pops the high, and then drops again. There's a lot of examples, kind of like on Bitcoin here, where we see that similar type of behavior right here. So you can see, and I've showed this before, where it drops down and then it kind of bottlenecks, boom, 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 and then what does it do? It drops hard, right? Similar thing happened over here. Right here you can see how it drops down and then it goes into this bottleneck, boom, 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 and then what does it do? It drops hard, right? So we'll see how that plays out. Zcash fell quite a bit. It looks like 5 waves. And there's a lot of bullish divergence also on the 1 hour. Let's see the 4 hour. Nope, it's not there yet. But yeah, the 1 hour looked pretty decent. But anyway, let me go back to CRV real quick. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Any way you look at it, we got 5, right? So this could be A, we come up for B, and then we get C. So some kind of A, B, C, and then go. So it's all gonna be about kind of what happens in this area. Is that gonna lead to a breakout, or is this a retracement with a C leg to come? All right, let's look at ADA here. ADA is again, they're all kind of similar. Now ADA does have a better 5-wave definition. It has a much better shape to it. Do we have divergence? No. See, we don't have any divergence on ADA, but we have kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we kind of have this kind of diagonal look to it as well. Kind of like this falling wedge type of look, right? How it's kind of condensing in here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a big breakout here and retrace this wedge. And then if we can pull back bullishly and get back up here, then we can challenge the retracement levels, right? And then from there, it could turn into, again, W, and then an X, and then a Y, or an ABC. But yeah, if we start getting something like that, that would be a good buy right here. If this turns into a 3-wave shape, so it doesn't matter if it's XRP or whatever, right? Fetch looks a little different. 1, 2, 3. It kind of looks like it wants to come up and take the high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Engine. Yeah, if it gets up here, I mean, if we get this 3-wave shape here for engine, this would be a good buy right here. And then ICP, if we get a 3-wave shape, that would be a good buy right there, right? Theta fuel, if we get that 3-wave shape, that'll be a good buy, because you would take this liquidity out and you would have a 3-wave pullback. 3-wave, that would be an up, that would be a long right there. So same thing with Filecoin, right? You got 3 up. If this comes up and then comes back down, that would be a good long. I mean, here would be also a good long, but we don't know if it's going to get through those retracement levels. So anyways, I think that should do it for this video. You guys kind of know where I'm standing here. Just always be cautious, remain skeptical. Nothing's ever a for sure thing unless you're looking at the macro, right? When we look at the macro, you know, why do you hold crypto in the first place, right? Eventually we're going to get a massive alt season. We're going to get a massive bull run. It's only a matter of time. but it's all about navigating through these choppy waters. And I like to end here with Filecoin, because when you look at Filecoin, just look at this wave here. Okay, now look at this wave here. It's in the same degree, it's in the same placement, and it's the same length. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and basically a truncated 7. But the length and the time are about the same. Kind of similar to what these are, right? So what comes next? You would imagine something like that, right? I mean, something maybe of a base and then a continuation getting up here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Do we have to hit the low one more time? Maybe, right? Do we have to have a WXY like we just talked about? Maybe. But whatever, right? Whatever the case is, we want to see it start oscillating and bottoming in here, right? There's going to be a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, right? It's an election year. So, you know, a lot of stuff's on the table for chaos. But ultimately, when you zoom completely out, right, ultimately this thing is going to eventually go higher. That's just the way to see it, right? So does it have to come down first, right? Whatever. Eventually, the macro trade is higher. Why? Well, because crypto's the future, whether we like it or not. I mean, it solves a lot of problems. I'm not going to get into all the utility, but once we get that regulation, utility, I think crypto's going to be unstoppable. But for right now, we're all speculators, right? So, but anyways, I think that's it here. Just keep your eye out for XRP. I just got a weird feeling here. I don't know. You know, it just seems like she's wanting to break out. Now, one more, let me see. One more thing here with XRP. So this could actually be, it has a very nice 3-wave shape. So if this comes up in 3, and then we get another 3 down, watch out for something like that. It could be WXYXZ, right? But basically kind of flagging out in here. But I think once this is finished, it's gonna take off. So that's just the way it looks. So we'll see. But anyway, not financial advice. I will catch you guys on the next one. If you can, hit that like button, drop a comment. I always appreciate that. And yeah, I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.